I don't know about you, but I just feel like I get distracted way too much. And I look back at my week before and I'm like, wow, I could have got so much more done if I had stayed on task. I want to talk to you today about 3 ways you can defeat distractions. And I think part of it is understanding that we're called to, as leaders, as spiritual leaders, we are called to a higher standard, honestly, with the way that we use our time. There's an accountability and a stewardship to it. And I love what the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 5. It says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but live like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. There's a stewardship to it. And so there's this kind of weight of responsibility on our shoulders as followers of Jesus, as people who want to make a difference in the world, who are mission-driven, multipliers, really, mobilizers. We want to be people who use our time well so that when we think about the difference that we made, we can look and go, yeah, I did use my time well and it made a difference in somebody else's life. It moved something forward in the world. So I want to share my 3 most common kind of disruptions or distractions, and they are animals. Okay, I made up some animals that really represent to me the kinds of ways I'm often pulled off course. First one is Chihuahuas. Little tiny dogs, right? And I don't know why I have this image, and I'm sorry if you're a Chihuahua owner or lover. There's one in our family, so, no judgment. But when I think of the image of this little animal, I think of the dog who's coming up to my ankles and constantly biting at my ankles, like nipping at my ankles. And I think of like a pack of Chihuahuas coming to get me, and I can hardly move through my day because there's all these little distractions around me, and they happen so easily. I think these are maybe micro-interruptions, small but annoying, right? Small but distracting, especially in greater and greater numbers. And the noise sometimes, and all of the kind of attention it takes in order to try to stave them off, it's really a big deal. Think of this like the notifications that pop up on your phone. And if you're somebody who has notifications that are always pulling you away, it's hard to stay on focus. Your brain literally cannot keep going back and forth and stay productive and stay in flow. And so you and I, we've got to decide, is this calling, this responsibility that I have to my Creator for how I use my time, is it important enough for me to eliminate some distractions? The Chihuahuas are a big deal, and I think some of those things they matter. They do matter. They just don't matter ultimately. They aren't the most important thing. And so a great tactic that I've learned and I'm trying to practice on this is to batch and block those tasks, those little distractions, if they even need to be done at all, to not let them take the front center part of my day or my week or my month or my quarter. And so to batch and block those things, just to put them in a zone where I can go, I'm going to deal with all those things, but I'm going to kind of close the door to it right now. And there's this one-touch rule, right? Where if something comes across your desk or your life that really does actually matter, and it can be done in 2 minutes or less, the idea is one touch means just get it done, get it out of the way. So now it's not something that you thought of that now you have to put on a task list and you see it every day, and maybe one day you move it to the next day, and it's like, this is taking so much of your energy. Just get it done, 2 minutes or less is a good rule. So Chihuahuas, that's one that I fight with all the time. And I think about in the morning, I'm looking at my day and I'm like, how do I eliminate some of the Chihuahuas that are biting at my ankles right now? And again, it's like just contain them, batch them, and block them. That's been super helpful. Again, a lot of times it's about going like, totally going to ignore them. Maybe I'll never even get to them. And some of it is there something that I can systematically do that moves some of these things that are coming to me to the right person? If I'm not the right person, is there just a redirect? Maybe communicate to the team or to my clients or to the people I'm serving. Who's the better person to contact if there's a bunch of stuff flowing to you? But Chihuahuas are a big deal. Second thing, Barnacles. I thought about this. A boat in the water over time collects these barnacles, and they're quiet, but they over time they attach themselves to you, and they create this drag where it slows you down. And if you have ever seen one of those boats, bigger boats, kind of like up out of the water, somebody's washing it, they're cleaning off the barnacles because, one, they're going to keep this boat in good shape, but also it does create this resistance, and you can remove some of the resistance by just making sure you're not keeping those barnacles. I think of it as creep. The things that just kind of attach and they've crept up on you. You didn't even see them coming. They don't bark at you. They're not shiny. They just show up somehow. Now it's like every week you got these 7 things to do, and they take your time, and you're not even sure how they got there or why they're still there, and they've just accumulated. And the tactic that I think works real well here is to don't just remove them, but replace them. So creating idle time in our lives isn't always very helpful, but the idea would be, what are those 7 barnacles worth? Is that a 45-minute block that you could put into some other thing? Okay, so what do you put in there that's more important, that maybe buys you more time or frees up time or creates momentum for you? And another idea here would be to create monthly freedom day, where you're saying there's a day in the month where I won't deal with the barnacles. It'll be a barnacle free day, and I'll be able to do big picture focus things or dreaming, and I'm just creating a freedom day, a safe zone where I can eliminate the idea that I even need to think about those little annoying barnacles that have attached themselves to my life or my leadership or my schedule in my family or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So it's Chihuahuas, it's barnacles, and the third one is squirrels. That's probably the most common thing. Think about a distraction in an animal. Squirrel, right? That's the one that we all think about. It's the shiny object. It's the thing that probably is new, fun, and easy. And so you might be in the middle of, doing your taxes, and then this idea comes across your mind, or somebody calls you and says, "Hey, you want to go grab lunch?" Or there's all these things that can be so easily distracting. And one of the things that I think happens is if it's new, fun, and easy, it's so much more appealing to our mind and our heart sometimes than just that hard work that's required to make progress on those big needle moving things in our life. And so I would say a couple things that I've learned is to create a squirrel cage. And it's okay to have a squirrel moment. It's okay, but do you let it jump on you and you pet the squirrel and you play with it and you totally forget what you're supposed to be doing? Or is there a way you could go, "Oops, squirrel, I'm going to put it in the cage, and then I'm going to have a squirrel time"? We're going to have squirrel time, and you can dedicate maybe an hour a week or 2 hours a week to thought development on some of those things. Because new ideas are fantastic, right? New ideas make the world go around. For me, I'm an idea person. I love new ideas. I love ruminating on them. But I can't always be doing that, or else I would never get stuff done. And so can you have like a squirrel time or a squirrel session where you plan that out? And if you're the creative type, you need that, right? Maybe it's more like an hour a day for some people, but at least we could go, it's going to be in a zone and in a block, and it's not going to stop me from, getting the laundry done. It's not going to stop me from making sure I've got the strategic plan in place. It's not going to stop me, I'm a pastor, from having my sermon done, and ready to go, because that's like the main thing I'm called to do for my church ministry. And so I have to be able to do those things. But I hope those thoughts can be really helpful. I want to invite you to think about this. What species, what animal more often drags you away? And what one tactic could you try this week to contain those distractions, to put yourself back in flow, to stay focused on your priorities so that you can move the needle through your life and leadership? I hope that's helpful. And I'd love to hear back the answer. Who's your animal, and what are you going to do this week to solve it? But have an awesome week. Thank God it's Monday. We get to serve and live another week. I'm available if you need help, if you want coaching, if you just want to chat through an idea. Shoot me a note. I'd love to talk. I'd love to work with you and help you. And I hope you have an awesome week.